Second and final bye week is over. It is Illinois week. It's Nebraska in the Fighting Illini on Saturday. Sean, what did we learn over the bye week, and how important was those week off for the Huskers?
Yeah, I just think the time away, knowing what's ahead. I mean, Nebraska is going to play the 4 best running backs in the Big Ten the next 4 weeks. They're going to see 5 elite level defensive teams, very physical, as Garrett Nelson called, Big Ten style teams, and I think this week off was big in a lot of ways. They got 2 wins over Indiana Rutgers. They almost won at Purdue. So they've got a lot that they can build on, and now a lot of time to reflect on what's ahead.
Huskers do lose a key piece of their defense, and that bye week came at a good time for the rest of the team, but obviously Nick Henrich is the big loss.
Yeah, Nick Henrich out for the season with a knee injury, and that's a significant hit. He's a captain, and we know he already had missed a number of games early after the game, injury at Northwestern in Ireland. They've been without Nick for a better part of this year, but it really now puts the pressure on Luke Reimer. They're going to need Luke Reimer. When you see Chase Brown, Blake Corum, Mo Ibrahim, and Braylon Allen from Wisconsin the next 4 games, you're going to need your best linebackers available, because those teams are going to run it at you 30, 40, 50 times a game. And if you're not ready to stop the run and play with the discipline you need on the inside, especially at linebacker, it could be some long Saturdays for us.
Chris Kolarvik will get another opportunity on the inside. You mentioned Chase Brown coming into this game, 1,059 yards. This guy is 5.5 a tote. He's terrific. We saw him a little bit last year, but man, his game has taken a step up, and he's in a great offense to really utilize his talents.
Yeah, and he's got a coach that's experienced with a lot of good running backs from all of his time at Wisconsin, so he knows how to feature a guy like this, and they do that. And he's an All-American level back right now in what he's done, and he has 33 runs, Andy, of 10-plus yards. Over 600 of his yards are after contact, so he's very good at getting extra yards after contact, and when he gets to the second and the third level, he makes you pay.
On the other side of the football, how are the Huskers going to move the football? In Illinois, they have a tough front 7, but their defensive backs, they've picked off 12 passes already this year.
Nebraska's got to create some balance, and they've got to get Anthony Grant going again, and it's not really Anthony Grant's fault. I mean, I think the blocking has been limited the last few games. You go back to the Rutgers game, over 90% of Grant's yards came after contact. He was getting very little to work with, and the Purdue game, kind of fell away from Nebraska quickly, and they had to kind of go to the aired out to Trey Palmer game plan, and I think you've got to use that. I mean, we know what this offense is. It's using the run of Grant to set up the underneath throws to guys like Vokalek and Washington, then to ideally open up those deep shots. And how will Ryan Walters, Brett Bielema defend that deep shot play to Trey Palmer?
Yeah, will Palmer be defended one-on-one, or will they bracket him? What do you expect will happen?
Well, they've got good corners, and I'm sure on obvious passing downs, they will always have a safety behind Palmer. You cannot let Trey Palmer get behind you for Illinois, and Nebraska knows that. Mark Whipple knows that. But what Mark Whipple is good at doing is moving guys around and finding matchups. So you got to think that Palmer will stay in the slot, and he's going to have a lot of motions, a lot of movements, a lot of crossings that will try to get Illinois crossed up.
Yeah, and if try to take away Palmer, maybe that opens up something for Marcus Washington or Oliver Martin or somebody like that. Time of possession also going to be key on Saturday. Illinois is so good in that category, but as Mickey Joseph said on Tuesday, hey, I'm not going to tell my guys not to score quickly. If they're going to score, they're going to score.
Yeah, in some instances, that's an overrated stat, and it was at Purdue. I mean, the way Nebraska, if they would have got one more stop, they might have won that game. And TOP was as lopsided as you'll ever see in a football game there. So a lot of it is just the flow of the offense. If you're not going to be able to run it with your running backs, and not having A.J. Allen hurt this team, and then Anthony Grant's been limited with what he can do, it really puts a lot of pressure on Casey Thompson and Trey Palmer, and that's what Nebraska's offense had to be at Purdue.
All right, 5-game stretch here coming at you. Where can you find 3 wins?
Well, this is where you got to start. I think this one in Minnesota, these 2 home games, I mean, if you're Mickey Joseph, if you win these 2 home games, you're going to come out of there with a lot of momentum. And at that point, that'd be 4 out of 5 for him in the Big Ten. So, if he's thinking big picture, I want this job, these 2 games really are big, because we know what Michigan's going to be like. That no one's going to give Nebraska a chance in Ann Arbor, but then Wisconsin comes to Lincoln, then Iowa on the road. I mean, all 4 of those games besides Michigan are very winnable. I think you can get 2 out of those 4, and I think 3 is kind of the ultimate goal.
Yeah, and take your chances, too. It's been a while since Nebraska's beaten a nationally ranked opponent, and this is a golden opportunity for these guys.
Yeah, the ranked Scott Frost never won a ranked opponent. Yeah. Scott Frost only won 2 Big Ten games in a row, his first year, and that was it. So Mickey Joseph's already done that, and can they get that win over a ranked opponent, which has not happened since Mike Riley was in his second season back at Nebraska in 2016
against Oregon. We'll see if it happens this Saturday when Nebraska takes on Illinois. It's a 2:30 kick. It's on ABC in Omaha. It will be on KETV.